Round Rock Dragons wearing their gray uniforms with maroon trim and maroon helmets. Leading things off here for Round Rock is the second baseman, Luke Dominguez. He grounds it to short, and that'll be an easy play for out number one. Excuse me, it's Hempel over at second making the play to Southard at first, and
Southern.
That'll be one away.
Southern. Rob just called. I'm going to call him.
Porter into his motion. He's the starting pitcher for the Raiders today. Delivers a strike here to Luke Dominguez.
Okay. All right, good deals.
Dominguez sees that pitch hit the low outside corner.
Okay, great.
And it's an 0-2 count. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Catches the bottom half of the strike zone, and that will retire Jared McKenzie as he goes down looking, and that's two away here in the top of the first. Kyle Fromke steps in and asks for time. It's granted to him. He'll step back in here. Porter's fastball misses, and that'll be ball one here to Fromke. The shortstop coming to the plate with 2 outs and nobody on here in the top of the first. We're just getting going. Porter finds his pitch in the motion, delivers. Below the strike zone, 2 balls and no strikes here to Fromke.
Porter in his last outing pitched 5 innings for the Raiders and got the win in 5 innings.
He delivers a strike right there and works his way back into this at-bat. Fromke sees that pitch go on the low outside corner of the strike zone. The count even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2 outs and nobody on.
Porter getting the starter for the Raiders is one of 2 UT commits for the Raiders. Jared Southard being the other.
Southard over there at second already getting in on the action with the ground out to the leadoff hitter, Luke Dominguez. That pitch was inside on Fromke, and it's a full count. The payoff pitch in the dirt, and that'll be a 2-out walk for Fromke. He'll head to first and be the Dragons' first base runner of the day. Brings up the pitcher.
Now batting
Cameron Dayton.
32. Cameron Dayton.
Michael Florence, our color analyst.
Francis,
I beg your pardon. Sorry, Michael Francis. Enjoying a good old-fashioned baseball game here between Rouse and Round Rock. First pitch to Dayton misses downstairs, ball 1. One 0 catches the low outside corner, and it's an even count here to Dayton. Ball and a strike.
It's the first time that Rouse has faced Round Rock since Rouse dropped in classification from 6A, as they were in the district with Round Rock and the Round Rock schools.
That pitch fouled back, and it'll be 1-2 count. Yeah, the whole 5A, 6A really kind of separated a lot of schools that had gotten used to playing each other, and That extra classification really even broke up some long-time rivalries, especially considering that Rouse was having the opportunity to face this kind of more, the new kid on the block facing the more storied Round Rock Dragons, who have been around for a long time and even produced several major leaguers. Always good to go up against these Central Texas teams if you're not from the area, because just a ton of talent. 1-2 floated into left center field, and that's a base hit. So following the Fromkey walk, it's Dayton getting on with the base hit, and runners at first and second for Reagan Doss. So after getting the first 2 outs quickly, Porter looking to get out of the inning. Now that there's a couple base runners on, we're going to have a pinch runner here.
Courtesy runner number 18, Jared Kivett. It's either Kivett or Kivett. I think it's Kivett.
Jared Kivett will take the courtesy running position over for Dayton, who the pitcher reaching on the base pass.
Now batting for the Dragons, number 29, Reagan Doss.
Reagan Doss steps in, 2 outs and 2 on. Porter working out of the stretch. The pitch finds the inner part of the zone and will be strike 1. The 0-1 inside and gets away from Vinoy. But luckily does a good job staying on top of that pass ball, a ball that got away from him, I should say, and runners at first and second stay where they are. 1-1 the count here to Doss. Porter's offering. Check swing went through, though, and that'll be strike 2. Doss about halfway through, wish he hadn't committed to that swing. And it's 1-2. Porter steps off the rubber and finds a comfortable balance again. Checks the runners. 1-2 to Doss. Swung on and fouled off. Count remains. The 1-2. Floats outside. A throw down the third base line is not going to be in time as Fromkey advances from second to third, and moving from first to second is Cameron Dayton. A good execution as both base runners advance here with 2 outs. And with 2 strikes, everybody's going to be running on every pitch. 2-2 to Doss. Swing and a miss. That's strike 3. It gets away from Vinoy. He's going to throw it down the first base line. It hits Doss in the back, and I think runner's interference is going to be called, and there's going to be an argument about it because a run came across to score, but the runner's interference with the ball being the block base path to the first baseman, resulting in out number 3. So the Raiders come away unscathed in a scary end to the top of the first. No runs score off of 1 hit, no errors made by the Raider defense, and 2 runners left on for the Dragons. We head into the bottom of the first inning. No score with the Raiders coming to the plate. We'll be back in a moment here on SHN Sports. start of the bottom of the first inning. It's Hempel, Dominguez, and Southern due up here for the Raiders wearing their clean white uniforms. They might not be so clean by the end of the ball game, but they haven't gotten dirty yet, and they look really nice with some old gold lettering and numerals. The first pitch misses for a ball as Dayton works on the mound. Hempel leading things off here in the bottom of the first and sees 2 balls across on his first 2 pitches. (2-0). Swung on and fouled off. Two on the way in the dirt, and having to duck his ankles out of the way was Hempel. Easy for anybody here in the audience to say take one for the team, as they're not having the ball come at them that fast. Dayton's pitch, check swing pulled back, but still finds the strike zone.
Man, what a nice curveball.
And he gets that count full. The 3-2 floated into left field, and that'll be caught as coming underneath it, making the catch was Doss, and 1 away.
That'll bring up our designated hitter, number 6, John Dominguez.
You're doing something very impressive, also doing the PA, so I appreciate you just letting us know as Dominguez does come up, and the first pitch finds the low outside corner.
Now batting for your Rouse Raiders, number 6, John Dominguez.
I certainly couldn't do that. That's impressive. The pitch, this is going away. I'm not organized to be able to do all the things. Keep score, run the scoreboard. You're on top of it, Michael. And we're having the man on deck, Southern had to be pointed away. He was probably in a dangerous spot, honestly, if a foul ball comes at him. And as pointed out by the Round Rock head coach, the pitch misses low and away. But, you know, I guess anywhere is kind of dangerous on a baseball field, you know, if you're going to be near the batter. Swing and a miss.
Man, that was a high outside pitch from Dayton, and Dominguez took a big hack on that one.
He took a big hack on the 2-2 pitch, and that'll be strike 3. 2 outs here in the bottom of the first for the Raiders. So after a fly out to left from Hempel and a strikeout from Dominguez, Jared Southard comes up to the plate.
Hearing some of his platoon mates over in the dugout call him El Fuego.
Has he been on fire lately?
Well, he throws really hard, so I think that's kind of why they call him El Fuego.
He's having a little trouble with his batting gloves at the moment. He's holding up the play. He'll get him on and we'll resume soon. He comes into a tough situation. 2 outs and nobody on in the bottom of the first. And while he gets his batter gloves taken care of, he'll just let everybody know that he won't be approaching the batter box, I guess.
As he steps back a little further away than what he was originally.
I guess the couple things I've never seen here, and that's the funny thing about baseball, things you've never seen. The runners or batters interference as the top of the first ended, and Doss was on his way that could have scored a run as the throw down the first hit his back on a strikeout, and a strike right there delivered to Southern on the first pitch from Dayton. And then right there, the batter's gloves. As Dayton's at-bat is going against Southern, a chopper to third and an easy play over to first, and that'll be out number 3. So no runs, no hits, no errors, and no runners left on. The Raiders go 1-2-3 in the bottom of the first, and we're still scoreless here at Rouse High School between the Dragons and the Raiders. We'll be back in a moment here on SHN Sports. Dalton Porter coming on for his second inning of work on the mound, and he will face the 6, 7, and 8 hitters for the Dragons.
To get things started here in the second. Lefty-lefty matchup.
And he sees a pitch miss low and away as Porter misses the corner. The 1-0 from Porter Del Poli finds the strike zone. Kind of started outside and worked its way back into the heart of the plate. Colton Regan waiting on deck, the 1-1. Low and inside. 2 balls and a strike. And Ty Lindsay also due up here in this top of the second. Pitch misses below the strike zone, and Del Poli gets the count to 3-1 in his favor. The 3-1. This is low and away, and that's a 5-pitch walk. Del Poli reaching first with his leadoff at bat and brings up Colton Regan.
Porter giving up his second free pass of the game. That's one thing that really chews Coach Crampine up, is giving up free passes and pitchers not hitting their spots.
Especially when it's a leadoff walk. You know, there's that made-up statistic.
Number 16, Colton Regan, now batting for the Dragons.
Colton Regan stepping in. There's a made-up statistic of something like 80% of leadoff walks come around to score. Porter working out of the stretch here. Checks the runner, and it's a hit batsman, as taking the hit was Colton Regan. So not the start Porter wanted to the inning, as he walks the leadoff batter and then hits Regan, and back-to-back free bases.
Courtesy runner number 19, Tyler Driscoll.
Tyler Driscoll will head on to first for Colton Regan. the catcher, and the new ball requested from Porter.
Number 5, Ty Lindsay.
Ty Lindsay stepping in. Lindsay, the center fielder, with his first plate appearance, with a good opportunity to help Round Rock on the board with 2 on and nobody out. Porter's pitch, a bunt down the third base line, is a nicely tried sacrifice and able to get to first in time, and the Porter's throw wide will score 1 run. Tripping up at third is Regan. He's going to still get across the plate in time. 2 runs will score for Round Rock off of the throwing error by Porter. It would have been a sacrifice by Lindsay to load the bases, because I think he might have even been able to beat out a well-placed bunt, and he will end up at second. And 2 runs come across the plate for the Dragons to make this a 2-run lead.
That becomes very costly for the Raiders, giving up 2 runs on that throwing error by Porter.
Yeah, Porter was trying to make sure that the sacrifice bunt resulted in an out.
Now batting for Round Rock, number 13, Chase Thinger.
So Thinger comes to the plate with
some action over in the Raider bullpen with, it looks like John Dominguez getting loose.
Keep an eye on that one as Porter misses the strike zone downstairs to Lindsay. Or excuse me, Thinger. Lindsay sits at second right now, and there's going to be a meeting on the mound.
Yeah, Coach Crampine, I am sure, is really not happy. He wanted to come into today and really be competitive with Round Rock. And not a very good start so far here in the second inning for the Raiders, as 2 runs have scored and no outs are on the board.
Yeah, both of those runs, as we talked about, costly free bases for Round Rock, as it was the Raiders' Porter putting on Delapoli on a walk, and then Colton Regan was hit by a pitch. Then that sacrifice butt by Ty Lindsay ended up resulting in a throwing error that brought across both runs, and now Chase Thinger comes up with runner on second and Lindsay and nobody out. So a tough inning for Porter here. He wants to try and get out of it. He has to find the strike zone here on this at-bat. Steps off the rubber, trying to see if Lindsay will be aggressive and take off for third, or at least, if anything, to make sure he's paying attention. Ramos threatening cover from short. A bunt fouled off here by Thinger.
Dalton really struggling with control here in this second inning, and it's kind of all around, but not pounding the strike zone.
Yeah, and that'll be the key here, seeing if he can get quality strikes across, because maybe not finding the strike zone being his main concern as opposed to getting quality pitches in the general area, and he'll step off again. Certainly not the start he was hoping for, playing from behind now. Has to be a little more cautious, especially with a runner at second and the momentum in favor of Round Rock. Bunt shown, and put down Porter, allows Southard to get it, and covering is Hempel from second, and he covers the bag. The sacrifice does move up Lindsay to third, so the 9th hitter in the order, Chase Thinger, retired. That'll be out number 1 here in the top of the second, and back to the top of the order, Luke Almendarez comes to the plate.
Batting number 4. Who's number 4?
Almendarez sees that pitch high and outside. Ball 1.
Now batting for the Raiders, number 4, Luke Almendarez. I've got him at 11 on my book.
That pitch inside on Almendarez, and 2 balls and no strikes to count.
Oh, okay. His 4 looks like an 11. Okay.
2-0 pitch to Almendarez in the dirt, gets away from Vinoy, and he's not going to be able to get to the ball in time, as it'll be the third run coming across for Ty Lindsay and the Round Rock Dragons. Delapoli, Regan, and Lindsay all scoring here. The base is now empty following the Thinger sacrifice. It's one out and nobody on here for Luke Almendarez, who grounded out to second back in the first inning.
Really falling behind here at 3-0 here in the top of the second to the Round Rock Dragons, and you just don't want to get that far behind the Dragons. I mean, they're a tough out.
Yeah, for sure. They always put together high-quality teams, and currently working with a 3-0 lead, and a strike delivered there. Almendarez with a full count now.
They're a well-coached team, and they have been for years, and you just don't want to get behind a team like that.
The payoff pitch grounded into left field for an Almendarez base hit with one out. And they've now seen their fourth base runner here in the top of the second. That's only their first hit.
I guess that phantom statistic that you mentioned about the leadoff walk scoring proved true.
Yeah,
here in this.
Yeah, it's one of those where if you get on first with no outs, there's a pretty good opportunity that you'll come around to score, and it looks like this could be the end of Porter's day.
Yeah, Coach Crimpine makes the call to the bullpen, and Porter's day on the hill is done. He'll probably transition into right field and stay in the lineup. That's his natural position as right fielder, so I'd look to see him go back in probably next inning.
All righty, so we have a new pitcher. We'll take a break while he warms up, and then we'll come back and we'll continue this top of the second inning. It's the Round Rock Dragons leading the Rouse Raiders 3-0 here on SHN Sports.
This broadcast is under the direction and is copywritten by the Schoening Hip Network. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, use of sound bites and interviews, and use of any other content, including audio or video, without the direct written consent and permission by the Schoening Hip Network is strictly prohibited and protected by federal and copyright laws. All rights are reserved by the Schoening Hip Network and SHNSports.com.
John Dominguez, the right-hander, will come in for relief of Porter. So, I was running this scoreboard and such. Is Slater gone out of right field, or in Porter replace him? Can't quite make out who that is out there in left field, or right field rather.
Porter has come back in at right field.
All righty. So, that's the situation there, as Almendarez got on with a base hit. Brings up Jared McKenzie.
Number 15, Jared McKenzie, now batting for Round Rock.
McKenzie went down looking last time at the plate. He's part of a big top of the second, and he'd like to contribute to the Dragons 3-0 lead. The first pitch inside from John Dominguez. And a quick meeting taken care of between Vinoy and Dominguez. So resetting the defensive outfield, Porter in right, Thomas in center, Couch in left. Defensively up the middle, Ramos at short and Hempel at second. The 1-0 fouled off, and it's a ball and a strike here to Jared McKenzie, who's 0 for 1 at the plate. Southard at first and Diaz at third. Those are your corners, and Vinoy putting the fingers down behind the plate.
Dominguez's last outing was last Friday versus Austin Anderson.
He inherits a tough situation with the Round Rock Dragons having momentum, but that's one of the things about those relief pitchers. They know that they're going to come in with tough situations, probably. More often than not, if they have to come in during the middle of an inning, it's because things aren't going too well. The pitch grounded to second. Hempel collects, goes for the lead runner. Almendarez out at second, and reaching on the fielder's choice is Jared McKenzie.
That'll go 4-6 on the putout to get Almendarez.
And that's the smart play right there by Hempel. He saw the opportunity and took advantage of it, so no runner in scoring position, and that'll be out number 2 here as Kyle Fromke steps in. Fromke looks a strike at the low outside corner.
Now batting for the Dragons, number 24, Kyle Fromke. Raiders with activity in the bullpen. Lefty Matt Bazemore gets loose.
Grounder foul on the first base side, and Fromke will get some instructions here from the third base coach. And yeah, it's probably always smart. Growing up, I never quite realized until I was older how important the pitcher position was. And, it kind of makes sense, but, it's the key chess piece, if you will.
Right.
And it's always good to have several chess pieces ready to go in the event that anybody ever catches momentum and you need to stop it with maybe bringing in a lefty or something along those lines. Here's a righty versus righty matchup, a swing and a miss on the pitch, and it gets away from Vanoy. It's a strike 3 and out 3 as Vanoy gets it down the first base line without trouble this time. But 3 runs do come across to score on 1 hit, 1 error made by the defense of the Raiders, and 1 runner left on for the Dragons. We head into the bottom of the second inning. It's Round Rock leading Rouse 3-0 here on SHN Sports. We'll be back in a moment. Start of the bottom of the second. Dayton still on the mound, coming out for his second inning of work. It's the 4, 5, 6 hitters due up for the Raiders here in the bottom of the second. Vanoy, Diaz, and Porter coming to the plate.
Leading off for your Rouse Raiders, number 1, Cody Vanoy.
Vanoy steps in, a right-handed batter. Already in the windup and ready to go is Dayton. He delivers the first pitch quickly and misses outside for ball 1. Man, he was eager to get this inning started.
Well, they get to where they want to work fast, and they get in a rhythm, and they just want to stay there.
Yeah, no pitch count needed, no pitch clock needed, I should say, for Dayton as he sends a strike across this time, and Vanoy's count is at 1-1.
Well, the thing that would definitely change his personal pitching clock would be to have base runners on, if Rouse can do that. no pitch as time was called.
Yeah, Vinoy says, I'll do the slowing down, and he calls time and takes his time stepping into the bat. He understands the mental game going on, I guess.
He does, and Vinoy is committed to UT Rio Grande Valley, so he'll be playing baseball down there next year.
Is that Edinburgh, I believe, the town?
I think it may be.
2-1 catches the outer half of the strike zone, and the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Dayton's 2-2 swung on, grounded to short. It'll be Fromke getting across on a low throw, but still caught in time by Delapoli, and that'll be out number 1.
Vinoy with some All-State honors last year, as well as top district honors.
The next batter coming up is Diaz.
Now batting, number 9, Caleb Diaz.
The strike taken. One out, nobody on. Dayton finding his rhythm, the 0-1 swing and a miss. It's a healthy cut there by Diaz, but couldn't quite make contact. He's down 0-2 in the count. That 0-2 caught the low outside corner, and Diaz goes down looking for out number 2 here in the bottom of the second.
Dayton really using a good mix of pitches to stay on top of the Rouse hitters and keep the bats relatively quiet.
And now he's riding some momentum with 2 outs and nobody on. He sends a strike across that even his catcher Regan wasn't quite ready for. It's a very windy day. The strong winds moving across the outfield from the right to the left, and the 0-1 just misses the strike zone, count at 1-1.
So directionally, wind's coming out of the south, blowing to the north.
1-2.
Porter gets hit.
Yeah, Porter takes his base, and you know, a 2-out rally could be the momentum that Rouse needs to find right now, as it was Round Rock taking advantage of that momentum briefly in the first inning before that strikeout / batter's interference down that first base line by Regan Doss.
For the Raiders, number 14, Cody Kelch. Now, Cody, a big power hitter, and he really loves to hit to left. If he can get a hold of one with this wind, he could easily send one out.
Dayton tried to get it over to first, and it was Delapoli applying the tag just a little bit late. First pitch hits the strike zone, about waist level here to Cody Kelch.
He's got a nice breaking ball that gets that outside corner.
The 0-1 is a swing and a miss. Talk about that power, and Kelch really wanted to show it off right there. Porter takes his lead from first. The 0-2, outside. Waste pitch.
Yeah, he had a good fastball on that one. Trying to get Cody to chase outside, and it wouldn't be unlike Cody to do that from time to time, hoping to make something happen.
The 1-2 in the dirt, and Kelch works his way back into the count with it even 2 balls and 2 strikes. Hey, you see that pitch all the time, and it's almost assumed that the 0-2 is going to miss outside. So if you see it start to float outside, let the umpire make that call. I feel like you take the ball sometimes. The 2-2, swing and a miss on an inside fastball, and that'll be the second strikeout of the inning and the third out of the bottom of the second. So no runs score off, no hits, no errors made by the Dragons, and 1 runner left on for the Raiders. We head into the top of the third inning here with the Dragons leading 3-0 over the Rouse Raiders on the campus of Rouse High School. We'll be back in a moment on SHN Sports.
This is Brad Tillery.
This is Chuck Crixey.
This is Matt Leishman. This is Steven Stein.
This is Abby Hake.
This is Karl Schoening.
And this is Rob Hipp, and we are SHN Sports, your source for live high school football action in Central Texas. Please join us on Thursday and Friday nights for live coverage before, during, and after the games. That's SHNSports.com. Your team, your broadcast.
2015, 10-5, touchdown, Dakota Cahill.
Karl Schoening and Michael Francis with you here as the top of the third is about to get rolling. Round Rock leading 3-0 off 3 runs scored in the second inning. And now taking things over for the middle 3 innings, Michael, all yours.
Well, thank you, sir. Leading off for the Round Rock Dragons here in the third is number 32, Cameron Dayton. Dayton, the pitcher for the Dragons. John Dominguez on the hill for the Raiders. He toes in on the rubber and delivers home a swing and a miss from Dayton for strike 1. And Dominguez works ahead here on the first batter. The 0-1 pitch from Dominguez misses high and outside for ball 1. The count will even. Dominguez picks up the side from Vanoy. He winds and comes home. A fastball that gets by for a strike.
Dominguez really finding his rhythm here in his second inning of work. Or at least it looks like he's found a little bit of a rhythm.
1-2 pitch. Just misses the outside corner. The count will even back up at 2. Dayton batting from the left side. Pitch is swung on and fouled back out of play. And the count remains at 2. Dominguez comes set. Delivers and misses down and away. And the count goes full. The pitch from Dominguez, that's fouled off. Dayton doing what he can to increase the pitch count with his at-bat. Everything he can to make it a quality at-bat. The payoff pitch from Dominguez, that swung on and missed, and Dayton gets down the line as the ball squibs away from Vanoy, and a free out given to Round Rock with that pass ball.
It's one of the more interesting rules in baseball. I don't know how they came up with that one, but that's one of the more annoying ones for your team when it happens to you.
And that'll bring up number 29, Reagan Doss, batting for Round Rock. 1 on with no outs here in the top of the third. Pitch fouled off by Doss for strike 1. Now batting for the Dragons, number 29, Reagan Doss.
We saw that happen to Dawson his last at-bat where he struck out, and then the throw from Vanoy hit him in the back, and he was called out. He was already out because of the strikeout, but then the second time around, it was runner's interference.
The throw over from Dominguez, not in time, as Dayton dives back in. Well, they brought in a courtesy runner, and I didn't see it. It's Colton Regan. foul, and it's not really. That's 16-18. Jared Cavett, courtesy running. The way his number was turned and looked at it looked like a 16.
Yeah. Oh, sometimes you see those jerseys where the numbers are the same color as the jersey, and it just it makes it even harder. So, yeah, this time it's just a little distance, but yeah, happened.
2 strikes to Doss. A throw over to first, not in time as Cavett dives back in.
Yeah, Cavett really trying to get in the head here of Dominguez.
From the stretch, Dominguez toes in on the rubber. A swing and a miss from Doss, and he is retired for the first out of the inning. That'll bring on the first baseman, number 23, Jacob Delapoli. Now batting for Round Rock, number 23, Jacob Delapoli. A runner at first with 1 away here in the top of the third. Dominguez deals, that misses down and in for ball 1. It's like John is finding his groove here in the third. Cavett down to second in time. He gets the steal as the throw from Vanoy was a laser, but he gets his foot on the bag before the tag and gets the steal. Pitch missed, so ball 2. 2-0 the count. Pitch misses for ball 3.
Yeah, that one just missed. As you were saying a moment ago, Dominguez really starting to find his rhythm. And he kind of technically had back-to-back strikeouts before this at-bat. As the runner getting on after a ball getting away from Vanoy.
Dominguez checks over. Cavett at second and then throws a strike into Delapoli. Brings the count to 3-1. Delapoli batting from the left side. Dominguez comes set. He delivers. Fastball inside and high for ball 4 and gives up the walk. Round Rock with runners at first and second and 1 out here in the top of the third as the catcher, Colton Regan, comes to the plate. Now batting for the Dragons, number 16, Colton Regan. Vanoy goes out to conference with Dominguez and hopefully settle him down. Matt Bazemore in the wings, ready as if Coach Crimpine should need him.
You know, it's still early in the season, so even if someone's pitching well like Dominguez is now and he continues to pitch well, there might be a time where just to save his arm for, you know, built-up fatigue long-term, he might come out and you might want to do it at any given notice. You never know. But focus here is getting out of this top of the third.
Dominguez has the sign. He comes set, steps off, and looks Cavett back to second base. So once again, he'll pick up the sign from Vanoy. Regan stands in. This is cut on. This is going to go through for a base hit into left field. Cavett around third. Throw home will not be in time. And the Dragons plate another run and take a 4-0 lead over the Raiders here in the third. Courtesy runner comes in, number 19, Tyler Driscoll for the catcher. Runners at first and second. One away here in the top of the third for the Dragons, and that'll bring up number 5, Ty Lindsay, the center fielder. Lindsay reached on the throwing error from Dalton Porter back in the second. Dominguez comes set, and he delivers a breaking ball. Just misses high for ball 1.
Man, that strike zone's a little tight on the outer and inner halves, I guess, today. Dominguez kind of looked a little annoyed, but he knows that he has to really place that over the plate.
You see that the umpire is really set up. It's a chopper and bounces to short, and Ramos loses the handle on it, and everybody is safe, and the bases are loaded. And I believe they will credit, well, they're not keeping up with the hits, but I'm going to credit him with a hit as that was a chopper that really ended up going about 30 feet up in the air. I think he would have been safe either way. And that'll bring up number 13, Chase Thinger. Thinger laid down a bunt and was thrown out by the first baseman. This is cut on and hit it to second. The throw in second in time, and there will not be it. Throw to first, and Ramos with the mistake of just kind of falling asleep there at second and not paying attention to the runner at third who turned the corner and went home to score. That's a huge mistake by the shortstop, as the runner never really hesitated, and Robbie, he tagged the bag to get the out, but didn't look home. One away for Luke Almendarez. Now batting, Luke Almendarez. Almendarez takes the strike.
Yeah, crazy double play potential when double play didn't have an option. Just kind of stop the play, and it doesn't stop the play, actually, and taking advantage of that was Regan. So heads-up play there by the catcher for Round Rock. Well, actually, the courtesy runner, I should say, for Regan, who came in, which was Driscoll.
Pitch is hit back to the pitcher. Dominguez has it. Lob over to first in time, and down go the Dragons, but only after scoring 2 more runs, or 3 more runs. And taking a 6-0 lead into the bottom of the third. On to pitch for the Dragons. Number 32, Cameron Dayton, for his third inning of work.
Yeah,
Dayton with a shutout so far.
Yeah, and a rough inning there for the Raiders, as it started off with that strikeout that Dayton reached on because of a pass ball, and then his runner came around to score in Cavett, and then it was another strikeout, and it seemed like Dominguez kind of was finding his rhythm, but as we were talking about, that strike zone seems to be pretty tight for both sides of the ball, in my opinion, but still a pretty tight strike zone means that opportunities brought a walk there for Delapoli, and then a base hit for Regan, and a base hit for Lindsay. He was out on that fielder's choice to Thinger, and when 7 batters come up to the plate, some runs are probably going to be produced. It's almost a certainty.
Rouse into the third inning, and their number 8 hitter, Robbie Ramos, will come to the plate. Now batting for the Raiders, number 11, Robbie Ramos. Ramos, the shortstop, who kind of fell asleep there and allowed that run to score. Now at the plate, the pitch from Dayton, down and away for ball 1. Activity in the Raider bullpen as Matt Bazemore is warming up again. Pitch gets the outside corner, and the count evens at 1. Order of the day for the Raiders, damage control. They really need their offense to step up here and get some production, and pitch misses low for ball 2. 2-1 the count to Ramos. Dayton picks up the sign. He winds and fires. That's cut on and fouled back out of play for strike 2. Count evens up. Again, Dayton working his pitch clock, and he's working quickly. He deals. That's cut on and hit to third base. Throw over in time. And Ramos is retired. That'll go 5-3 on the putout. And that'll bring up the center fielder, number 10, Hayden Thomas. Now batting for your Rouse Raiders, number 10, Hayden Thomas. Again, Dayton working quickly as Thomas steps into the box, and he's already working into his windup. Ball 1. The fastball misses low. The pitch swung on. It's fouled back out of play.
Dayton must get a lot of first pitch strikes. I get the feeling that's his game there. As soon as he has an opportunity to throw that first pitch to the batter, he's going to go ahead and send it in and try and get ahead of the count.
He winds and he comes home. A curveball that is into the dirt and squibs away from Regan. The count goes to 1-1. The pitch. Another curveball, and this one misses low. The count goes 2-1 to Thomas. Nick Hempel on deck for the Raiders. And Dayton issues his first free pass of the game as Thomas trots down to first.
Nice catch there, by the way, in the lineup change as Thomas came in with a little bit of a change. As
Thomas, good speed on the bases. He extends his lead at first, and Nick Hempel stands in. The throw over in time, or not in time, sorry, as Thomas dives back in.
And now looking at it, I see I was the one who made the mistake with the designated pitcher a little bit too quickly to see it, and my little lineup done. But Porter, who came in to play right field, Slater, who won't be batting today, as it'll be Dominguez, the DH for him.
Now Dominguez throw over again as Dayton really intending to keep Thomas anchored to that bag. And Hempel yet to see a pitch. From the stretch, Dayton delivers. This pitch is fouled back out of play for strike 1. 0-1 the count to Hempel. John Dominguez on deck. 1 on, 1 out here in the bottom of the 3rd. Dayton comes set. The pitch, again fouled off, and Hempel behind, 0-2.
You brought it up earlier. The thing that'll slow down Dayton is getting runners on the base paths, and now since he's working out of the stretch and being a little more methodical, you even see him shaking off some signs. It's not like when he's working out of the windup and he knows what he's going to throw, and basically it's whatever the catcher Regan throws up as his first sign. Now
right.
He's much more in his zone, checking the runner, and currently it's Thomas in his head.
0-2 the count to Hempel. Dayton comes set. The throw over to first. Again, not in time as Thomas dives back in. He's thrown more throws over to first than he's thrown home to the plate. Thomas gets the jump, and Hempel gets a piece of it and fouls it away. The count remains 0-2. Thomas had a good jump. Had Hempel not swung at that. I think it would have been a ball, but Thomas clearly had a good jump and would have had a stolen base. The pitch from Dayton swung on and missed for strike 3, and Hempel is retired for out number 2. And that'll bring up John Dominguez, the pitcher. Went from designated hitter to the pitcher. Again, Dayton keeping an eye on Thomas at first. A comebacker to Dayton to throw over to first in time. And the Raiders' side is retired. And after 3, no runs, no hits, the Dragons lead the Raiders 6-0. On to the 4th we go. Sun beginning to peek out from the clouds here in Leander. John Dominguez comes back to pitch his second full inning of work. Vinoy behind the plate. Jared Southern at first. Nick Hempel at second. Caleb Diaz at third. Robbie Ramos at short. Cody Kelch in left field, Hayden Thomas in center, and Dalton Porter in right. Due up for Round Rock in the 4th. Almendarez, McKenzie, and Fromke.
Round Rock really trying to take advantage of their momentum that they had in that 3rd inning when they were able to just kind of start creating some chaos along the base paths and get some runners on. Scoring those 3 runs off only 2 hits.
Leading off for the Dragons, number 15, Jared McKenzie. Number 15, Jared McKenzie, leading off the 4th for the Dragons. This pitch is swung on. It's hit out to deep right center. Hayden Thomas tracks it, makes the catch. And I tell you, that wind had really caught that. Both him and Porter were tracking that ball, and you could see both of them moving, kind of trying to determine which way it was going to go. Was it going to go Thomas? Was it going to go Porter? Unfortunately, Thomas kept a good eye on it and made the catch to retire McKenzie. Now batting for the Dragons, number 24, Kyle Fromke. Fromke swings and misses as he stands in.
Nice movement on that pitch by Dominguez. Started inside and just moved outside as he missed on the cut.
Another one. He drops that curveball in. He's got a nice little slider that works in there. And Fromke down 0-2. The 0-2 pitch cut on and fouled, but Vinoy catches it, and Fromke is retired for out number 2. Raiders working really quick with 2 quick outs on 4 pitches. That'll bring up the pitcher, number 32, Cameron Dayton. Now batting, number 32, Cameron Dayton. Dominguez delivers outside for ball 1. This one crushed out to left center. It looks like it could get by, and it's over the fence. That's a home run for Cameron Dayton. Nice swing of the bat, and it was in the stratosphere really quick.
Yeah, that's the wind and just getting a hold of that pitch by Dominguez. And Rouse trying to get out of this inning unscathed with 2 quick outs and just a backbreaker right there.
Yeah, that was a powerful hit off the bat of Cameron Dayton. Now batting for the Dragons, number 29, Reagan Doss. Number 29, Reagan Doss stands in for the Dragons with 2 out and nobody on after that crushing home run from Cameron Dayton. Pitch gets the inside corner for strike 1. Rouse down 7-0 here in the 4th. From the windup, the 0-1 pitch fouled off for strike 2. Got some more activity going in the Raider bullpen. It's a right-hander. I can't see who it is, but 0-2 the count to Reagan Doss. Dominguez steps off, and he toes back in on the rubber. The 0-2 pitch called strike as Doss was caught looking, and the side is retired. 4 batters, but a home run out to dead center from Cameron Dayton has given Round Rock a 7-0 lead. On to the bottom we go, and due up for your Rouse Raiders, Jared Southard, Cody Vanoy, and Caleb Diaz.
Dayton will stay on the mound, but it looked like just staying warm for potential to maybe come in and pitch where a couple Dragons, and someone will even come out there to get warm just in case Dayton, you know, as we were talking about earlier, maybe get a couple more arms, use this lead to see some new pitchers here in the young season, what they do against a good Rouse team, and, you know, also keep a fresh arm in there to make sure Rouse doesn't start to find some momentum, and Dayton will just end the day probably on a solid day, as I imagine the Dragons will bring in a relief pitcher some point here in the next few innings.
Well, it can happen. You can put a bunch of runs together really quickly, as Rouse did last night in the first inning against Eastview, as they put 5 runs on Ryan Bailey last night to have a 5-0 lead after the first. So it can happen really quickly, as you mentioned.
A spark would be great right now for the Raiders and their fans coming out here on this spring break Thursday. It's still spring break for the Raiders, right?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. That's why that parking lot had plenty of room in it. If it would have been a school day, it's a tough one. During tournament season, it was a tough spot to try to find a parking spot out there to come up here to do the games with school going on at the same time. Jared Southard now stands in for your Raiders. He's got his jewelry and batting gloves all squared away, and Dayton winds and fires. Gets that outside corner on a pitch that looked just a bit outside, but the umpire liked it enough, he called it a strike. Raiders in the heart of their order. This pitch is hit out to right center. Jared McKenzie moves over, makes the catch, and on one pitch, Southard is retired. That'll bring up the catcher, number 1, Cody Vanoy. Vanoy grounded to third, or short on his first time up. Dayton working quickly. Misses outside for ball 1. Vanoy, a powerful hitter in his own right. He takes for ball 2.
Vanoy being the catcher, I think he's caught on to Dayton's pace and, you know, wanting to really take his time, wait for the umpire to set up and pause the umpire before he steps in. Those kind of things.
The 2-0, that gets the inside corner for strike 1. 2-1 to count to Vanoy. Caleb Diaz on deck. 1 out with nobody on here in the bottom of the 4th. That gets through for a base hit as it's hit to left. And Vinoy with a single. Get things started for the Raiders.
Well, I wasn't going to say anything, but that does end the no-hit bid there by Dayton.
It does hit that no-hit bid. And now if they can take care of the shutout. Number 8, Ethan Moore, comes on as the courtesy runner. Ethan Moore also the starting quarterback for the Rouse Raider football team. Moore, a junior. Caleb Diaz, a senior, at the plate. The throw over to first, and Moore dives back in.
Delapoli applied the tag there and could have easily been an injury, as he kind of made an awkward play, but an athletic one.
A swing and a miss from Diaz. Now batting for your Rouse Raiders, number 9, Caleb Diaz. Dalton Porter on deck for the Raiders. The look over by Dayton. The throw home, a swing and a miss from Diaz, and he falls behind 0-2.
Really nice pitch. A lot of speed and zip on that one from Dayton.
He has a good mix of pitches, and he's working them all with equity. He comes set from the stretch, delivers. A little slider that is fouled off.
Yeah, Diaz doing a good job at swinging pitches in the zone, but also some really solid locationing above the plate from Dayton.
Well, the thing with Diaz is he sees the ball very well. Through the season, he has seen the ball out of the pitcher's hand, and it just makes good contact, as he shows there, and fouls another one off.
Yeah, it's about really making Dayton work now. As for a while there, he hadn't seen too many batters, but as we get into these later innings, maybe the Raiders will catch him slip and build some momentum.
The 0-2 pitch, a curveball that is swung on and just goes foul down the left field line. Umpire calling for more baseballs. Balls stay in the park a little better here than they did last night. There was a lot of foul balls that were hit out of play at Eastview last night. The pitch from Dayton. The check swing and holds off and draws the ball. His first ball, that'll be 1-2 to Caleb Diaz.
You're right, he really does see the ball well. He kind of pulled that check swing back with plenty of time, as that missed high and outside.
That one's fouled off, but it's in the field of play and is caught by Delapoli for out number 2. Is he caught that, and as he had it to his back and it hit his glove, popped out, and made sure that he made the catch for out number 2. Good play by Delapoli to get the out.
Yeah, and a tough break to an end at a hard-fought at-bat for Diaz.
A quality at bat, but that'll bring up number 55, Dalton Porter, with a big swing and a miss for strike 1. Dayton really keeping Moore at first. Moore down the line and is thrown out. He's caught stealing, as when he slid, he kind of stayed up and didn't slide down and got the tag, unfortunately. So caught stealing for the third out, and the inning is over. Or that half of the inning is over. On to the 5th we go. John Dominguez back on the hill for the Raiders. No other defensive changes that I see. Wait, there is one. Patrick Sosa comes in at second base, and Nick Hempel moves over to short. A defensive change. And the outfield remains the same. Another defensive change is Bryce Ward is now in at third.
Well, you know, Round Rock a real quality team as they're showing here with their lead, but also good opportunity to work in other guys here in a non-district game.
Right.
You know, no matter what really happens, this won't count for or against, and the Dragons here, good opportunity for some more defensive work. As you say, Sosa and Ward come in.
Leading off for the Dragons, number 23, Jacob Delapoli. Jacob Delapoli leads off the inning for the Dragons. A swing and a miss from Delapoli for strike one.
Yeah, it's going to be key for Dominguez to get ahead of the count here as Delapoli's reached on a walk and came around to score both times he's been at the plate. So certainly good to get that 0-1 count.
The 0-1 pitch bounces in front of Benoit and over his head to the fence. Ball one. The count evens up. Dominguez has the sign. He winds and fires the inside pitch for a called strike. 1-2 the count to Delapoli. The 1-2 pitch misses down and away for ball two. Delapoli with 2 walks. So his on-base percentage is 1,000 for this game. The 2-2 pitch misses upstairs, and the count goes full to Delapoli. Delapoli shows a lot of patience at the plate.
Yeah, and he also made that spectacular catch in foul territory in the bottom of the fourth.
The payoff pitch from Dominguez, that pitch is fouled back out of play. And the count remains full. Some activity going in the Raider bullpen as number 7, Seth Francis, is getting loose. Dominguez picks up the sign. This is swung on and hit out to center, and Hayden Thomas tracks over about 10 steps, makes the catch, and Delapoli is retired for the first out. And that'll bring up the catcher, number 16, Colton Regan.
Good defensive play by Thomas right there. I'm not sure if you saw the same thing I did, but that wind just shoved the ball over towards left field, and Thomas kept his eye on it. I guess that's the thing you're told, the first thing you're told. Keep your eye on the ball and makes the catch.
Got to track the ball. Got to track it well. Pitch from Dominguez misses high to Regan for ball one. Regan has been hit by a pitch. That pitch sails way over and hits the backstop for ball two.
Yeah, Dominguez didn't quite get the movement he was hoping for on that pitch.
Typically, when you see something like that, it's usually a curveball that they didn't quite have the grip on. The 2-0 upstairs for ball three. Dominguez comes set. Pitch upstairs for ball four. And after the fly out, gives up the free pass. We have a pinch runner, or no, this will be a courtesy runner, but it's a different courtesy runner, not the same one. This will be number 22, Patrick DeLulo, as Ty Lindsay comes to the plate. Lindsay has reached on an error and hit a single. 1 on with 1 out here in the top of the fifth for the Dragons. Dominguez from the stretch has the sign. He delivers a fastball in for strike one. Lindsey takes all the way. The wind kind of dying down just a little bit. Big swing and a miss. A back pick from Vanoy, but Southard was too far off the bag to make a play.
Yeah, good heads up by Vanoy, but as you said, Southard just a little bit too far away to apply a tag. But it looks like Dominguez has found a little bit of a rhythm here after that walk.
0-2, the count to Lindsey. The pitch. The throw down to second. As Zosa fell down and making the catch, wasn't able to apply the tag. And DeLulo steals the bag. Now in scoring position, but gets the strikeout on Lindsey. 2 away, and that'll bring up Chase Thinger. Now batting for the Dragons, number 13, Chase Thinger. That pitch fouled off for strike one. Dominguez really working the strike zone. It's not that he's not throwing strikes. It's we got the strikeout, and he got the fly out. Unfortunately, he gave up that walk. But statistically, it wasn't the leadoff. So that might not score. Pitch bounces forward, almost as good as a bunt, and DeLulo moves down to third base.
Yeah, it's the walks with nobody on that you really have to, or with nobody out, I should say, that you really have to worry about. But a really good job here by DeLulo to get all the way to third and kind of put a little pressure here for an out to be recorded by the Raiders against Thinger.
Well, Francis is warmed up, and now Matt Bazemore is getting loose again. 1-1 the count to Thinger. Dominguez comes set from the stretch, deals pitch. It's in the dirt for ball 2. 2-1 the count to Thinger. DeLulo at third. 2 away. The pitch. Down and away for ball 3. Hitters count for Thinger. Dominguez comes set. The pitch upstairs for ball 4. And on down to first goes Thinger. And back to the top of the order go the Dragons as Luke Almendarez now comes to the plate. Now batting for the Dragons, number 4, Luke Almendarez. Runners on the corners for the Dragons. So Cody Vanoy gives the sign to the infield. And Coach Crimpine, I think, has seen enough. He's calling time. He's bringing out a pitcher. We'll let you know who it is here in just a second.
Yeah, with the top of the order coming up. And
that's going to be number 7, Seth Francis, comes on in relief of Dominguez.
You know him?
I do know this young man. He happens to be my son. Seth, a senior for the Raiders, and he has a very amount of arm angles in which he pitches from. He can pitch from 3/4 all the way to submarine.
Yeah, he tries that somewhat of a sidearm right there on that last one. And, you know, that's really good to kind of end a little bit of momentum because it throws off the batter because it's a new angle that they're not quite used to seeing, especially here at the high school level. And I think this is just exactly what the Raiders kind of need to get out of the end and get him an inning of work, or not an inning of work, but come in to try and get a little bit before the later innings. And nice opportunity here as he'll come in and inherit runners on the corners. It's a tough situation, but as we talked about earlier, you know, the pitchers that come in the middle of innings not always coming with nobody on, nobody out.
Seth, not a overpowering pitcher by virtue of speed, but he can get you with location, and he's one of those pitchers. He doesn't intend to go in to strike you out. He intends to get you out. So he doesn't mind getting the ball put in play to get the out. So he's one of those types of pitchers. Kind of like Greg Maddux was in the pros. His fastball was around 85, and he just got the outs, ground outs, fly outs, and that's kind of where Seth lives. And so we'll see how that affects the Dragons with Almendarez coming to the plate.
Yeah, the goal really to get it into that lower half of the strike zone so they can't really get the power that they want from that upper chest and torso rip, I guess, rip through. And let's see how he does here in this situation.
Francis picks up the sign from Vinoy. He toes in, delivers upstairs for ball one, and that's not where he needs to live. He needs to hit his spots. The 1-0 pitch from Francis, that's inside for ball two. Two 2-0 the count to Almendarez. The pitch from Seth, that's fouled away for strike one. And the count goes to 2-1. The 2-1 pitch from Seth, it swung on and missed for strike two, and Seth has climbed back in to an even count. Runners at first and third. Deuces wild, the pitch. Swing and a miss. Francis does the job to close the door on the Dragons. They strand two, and on to the bottom we go. Dragons holding a 7-0 lead over your Rouse Raiders. Rouse really needs to start generating some offense here going into the bottom of the fifth. They've got 9 outs here to play with.
But certainly some positive momentum here in the fifth inning with runners on the corners and nobody coming across. That's exactly what the doctor ordered on the defensive top of the inning there for the Raiders. And now that they're coming to the plate, maybe they can start to find some stuff, as it looks like they're going to face a new pitcher. Coming in will be Kyle Fromke, who I assume that means that there's going to be a defensive change at shortstop as well, with Chase Thinger moving to short. So another change at third, and
let's see. Yeah,
we'll see if we can find him.
I can't see his number.
But Dayton having a tremendous outing. Almost had a no-hitter through that 4 innings on the mound.
Number 28 to third base, and that will be Kyle Hawkins. Number 2 is now at second base, and that will be Grant McCall. Delapoli still at first. Number 19, Tyler Driscoll, is in left.
Man, they're making us change our defensive charts. Luckily, I do it in pencil.
Number 17, Jake Altenberger, in right. And Ty Lindsay, still in center. Leading off for your Rouse Raiders, number 55, Dalton Porter. Dalton Porter stands in for the Raiders to get things started. A swing and a miss for strike one. Pitch fouled off for strike two. Porter quickly behind, 0-2. He was unable to complete his at-bat in the last inning. The 0-2 pitch, it misses outside for ball one.
Thank goodness he doesn't inherit his count from the previous plate appearance when he was left on when out 3 was recorded.
The 1-2 pitch, that hits Porter in the right shoulder, and down to first he goes.
Man, he's taken one twice here. He's going to be sore tomorrow.
He's been hit twice. And that'll bring up number 14, Cody Kelch, a strikeout victim, his first appearance, first and only appearance. Fromke picks up the sign. From Victor Jimenez, who's replaced the catcher.
Yeah, a ton of changes there from the Dragons.
Changes. Pitch in for called strike. The 0-1 gets the outside corner for strike two. Kind of surprising as the pitcher set up way outside and managed to get that call. The 0-2 pitch from Fromke. And that was a good curveball. And Cody Kelch strikes out for the second time. One away for number 4, Patrick Sosa. Hitting for Robbie Ramos. That's chopped on and it's popped up playable. Left fielder comes in and makes the catch. And Sosa is retired for out number 2. Got to change all my notes up here.
Yeah, right, because Driscoll out there and left was a surprise. I couldn't see his number. I wish I had that kind of eyesight all the way out there.
Hayden Thomas swings on. The throw over to second. And Porter is out, and that ends the inning. 1, 2, 3, 4 go the Raiders. And on to the 6th we go, and Karl Schoening will take us the rest of the way.
Oh, no,
wait.
We had a little agreement
there,
that Seth would go on, and I'd let you continue. You're doing a good job.
Okay,
I don't mind if you take over for the rest of the game, as maybe that'll give the Raiders a little bit of luck here. It's a tough outing here, and I understand that this was not a scheduled game at the beginning of the season, but the Raiders and the Dragons just kind of wanted to meet up for a little spring break baseball. Is that my understanding of it?
It's always been on the schedule, but the change was that originally it was scheduled to be at Round Rock.
Okay.
And so they ended up swapping. JV or sub-varsity teams ended up going to Round Rock, and varsity ended up coming back here.
I heard there was something funky about this game, so yeah, that was the situation. Well, happy to have a home game added, or an added home game, instead of a road
absolutely.
game. Dragon Stadium. I'll put it this way: I don't always feel comfortable parking out there. I have to park ways away and make sure that I don't have any foul balls. Here, I don't have to worry about it. You'd have to really get a hold of it and have to take quite an angle to get to where I parked. So, yeah, this is
because the
nice
way their
ballpark.
field is situated, it's kind of in a residential neighborhood over there, so it's kind of different. All right, so we're set to get things started. Seth Francis on to pitch the 6th. Number 17, Jake Altenberger, will lead off for the Dragons. Now batting for the Dragons, number 17, Jake Altenberger. Pitch from Francis misses outside for ball 1. It's cut on and hit over to second and bounces away from Patrick Sosa off of his foot. That'll be an error on the second baseman. E4. As Altenberger reaches. That'll bring up number 24, Kyle Fromke. Now batting Kyle Fromke. Pitch misses low for ball 1.
I've always kind of found it interesting how in baseball, Fromke moves from short to pitcher, and he stays in the same spot, but there's going to be a lot of change here in this lineup.
The 1-0 pitch is in for a called strike, and that evens the count.
Such as Altenberger getting his first plate appearance and reaching first.
The 1-1 from Francis. Wow, that's smashed out to left center, and that hits the fence. Thomas has it, throws in. And Fromke with a stand-up double. Number 28, Kyle Hawkins comes to the plate.
Courtesy
now
run
batting
to second
for the
as well.
Dragons. Number 28, Kyle Fromke. Courtesy runner number 3, Cameron Bush. Courtesy runner Cameron Bush comes on for Fromke. Francis from the stretch as he faces Hawkins. The pitch from Francis, that's cut on and hit out to left. That's going to fall in for a hit. A run will score. And Bush scores, and 2 runs have scored in the inning. Hawkins with a double. Raiders now trailing 9-0. Number 19, Tyler Driscoll at the plate. Now batting for the Dragons, number 19, Driscoll. Swing and a miss from Driscoll. For strike 1. 1 on with no outs here in the 6th. Francis delivers. That's hit to short. Out of the glove of Hempel and into left field. Hawkins will score on the error. E6. And Coach Crampine is going to call time. So he's not calling for another pitcher as of yet. I think he's wanting to talk to his entire infield.
Yeah, but this is...
well, no, Matt Bazemore is in tow. There he comes. Seth Francis with a good performance. He just can't make errors. When 2 errors in that inning.
Yeah, and now...
that'll bring up the lefty, Matt Bazemore.
And I believe we have a pinch hitter coming up to the plate in Jared Cavett for someone who's been on the base paths all day long for any time a courtesy runner is needed for the Dragons. It looks like he might get his first plate appearance.
Yeah, unless he was one of those defensive changes.
They've moved almost everybody out there.
Yeah, they kind of almost changed their entire lineup.
They if he wasn't part of the 6th inning or the 5th inning mass changes, he might be part of the 6th inning changes that we'll have to deal with.
Unless he's a substitution coming in for Jacob Delapoli and going to be going to first for the bottom half of the inning.
We'll see what ends up happening here, but definitely, we talk about this game, even though it won't, doesn't look like, I should say, end up being a Raider victory. It's definitely a good opportunity to go up against a good team, and one of those things where they won't even get a chance to see each other in the playoffs, but I imagine certainly an education just to see the tough talent. And, these guys have probably run into each other in select baseball and all kinds of things.
Yeah.
So they're always happy to play against each other, and, they're always looking forward to the next matchup as well as the current one.
Well, here to take you the rest of the way, Mr. Schoening.
Thank you, Michael. As it will be the new pitcher on the mound.
Matt Bazemore.
And Matt Bazemore comes in.
Lefty. He's a little softer throwing lefty than Dalton Porter, but he does have a good command of his fastball and his curveball. Those are his primary pitches.
Bazemore working out of the stretch, sends a pitch outside here to Cavett. With a runner at first and nobody out. As you mentioned, 2 errors here in this top of the 6th from the Raider defense, and that pitch finds the outer half of the zone for strike 1. Count even at 1 ball and 1 strike here to Cavett. The 1-1 grounded to short, and Hempel will go for the lead runner, and the throw to first gets away from
And that'll be Gage Cook now at first base.
Thank you for catching that, Cook. I'm not sure the throw would have been in time, but the most important thing was getting Driscoll out on his way to second. So good job by Hempel to get out the runner before he gets to second, and now Cavett, reaching on the fielder's choice, will be at first with Colton Regan coming to the plate. Regan takes the first pitch outside. Regan was hit by a pitch and came around to score in the second, had an RBI single and came around to score in the third, and was walking left on at the third in the 5th inning. And takes a strike right there. Ball and strike.
Victor Jimenez is at the plate. This was the catcher that we didn't catch the change from Regan.
Thank you for catching that one. You're right, because you can't really see those numbers thanks to the catcher's gear. And you did catch that at the beginning. And here's a curveball that just catches the low outside corner, and
Jimenez
goes down looking.
Walking back to the plate with the delayed call from the umpire. I thought it was going to be a ball.
I feel like that strike zone's expanded a little bit here in the 6th inning, as those pitches were balls earlier.
Right.
But it'll be taken by the Raiders, as now coming up is Jacob Stremiska. Stremiska, yes.
Yeah, Stremiska. That's verified with the parents.
Stremiska takes a strike, and the count is at 1-1, as Ty Lindsay will probably be done for the game, and this is the 8th hole in the order. The 1-1 just misses outside. Stremiska sends this into left field. That's a base hit. And
gets by Kelch.
Kelch couldn't quite catch on to that, being waved around. To score third is Cavett, and
he will score.
And that makes it 11-0. Round Rock leading Rouse here in the top of the 6th.
That's the 4th run given up by the Raiders in the inning. Error made by Cody Kelch allows that run to come in instead of being held at third. E7.
Now Finger will step in. Pitch finds a strike zone, and now I got to double check because I'm going based off of mine. It's actually Cade Weber. So Weber with his first plate appearance, a runner on and 2 outs. Count at 1-1. This one bobbled by Hempel at short, but he still was able to get it across the diamond to first in time for Cook to make the squeeze, and that'll be out number 3. But 5 runs score off of
I got
3 hits. Four runs.
4 runs.
4 runs score off of 3 hits and 2 errors made by the defense of the Raiders and a runner left on for the Dragons. Brings us to an 11-0 lead for Round Rock as we head into the bottom of the 6th inning. And we'll be back in a moment here on SHN Sports.
3 errors.
Bottom of the 6th getting rolling and taking
Now
the
batting
strike.
for your Rouse Raiders, number 2, Nick Hempel.
Is Nick Hempel. Hempel steps back in.
He takes a strike on that one.
Yeah, he's facing Fromke for the first time today.
Hempel 0 for 2 with a fly out to left and a strikeout.
And he fouls that pitch off. And Hempel trying to maybe get a little spark going. Comeback seems a little unrealistic, but it's baseball, and the great Yogi Berra said it ain't over till it's over. The 0-2 is a swing and a miss, ends up in the dirt, and Jimenez will get it down the first base line in time to secure the out.
2-3 to complete the strikeout for Fromke.
Yeah, and now
Jameson Slater
Slater
comes to the plate.
Slater was scheduled to not come up to the plate.
Now batting, number 22, Jameson Slater.
Slater steps in, Fromke delivers, and the pitch misses high, ball 1.
Well, since Slater was a starter, he can come back into the game, having been substituted for. The pitch misses for ball 2. So it allowed him to return to the game. Had he had been a substitute and pulled from the game, he would not be allowed to re-enter.
The 2-0 finds the strike zone, and Slater, with his first plate appearance, will step back in.
Number 26, Gage Cook on deck.
That pitch fouled off. So, yeah, Dominguez here was the scheduled designated hitter. So, Slater, I guess, getting his opportunity now with Dominguez previously going 0 for 2. So, why not give Slater a chance here in this situation? Nobody on, 1 out. The 2-2 finds its way over the heart of the strike zone, and that'll be Slater retired looking. 2 outs and nobody on. Brings up Cook.
Now batting for your Raiders, number 26, Gage Cook.
Curveball catches the inner half of the zone, and Cook takes a strike. Jared Southard went 0 for 2 on the day here before Cook's first plate appearance, and it's a pop-up going to the infield second baseman, and underneath it making the catch.
That's the ball game.
And that'll be out number 3, and the run rule is in effect here after 6 innings, I guess. potentially. Let's see. It looks like the teams will go ahead and drop their gear, shake hands, and the Round Rock Dragons win this one 11-0 over the Rouse Raiders. And
yep, the run rule goes into effect, and it's after 5 innings. So Rouse was able to complete the inning and unable to put any runs on the board to close the gap to keep going and fall to Round Rock, a score of 11-0. First shutout that Rouse has posted in quite a while.
But, sometimes you need games like this just to kind of reevaluate everything. You're not going to have days like this all the time, but it's nice to be reminded that, hey, the blowout means that you just have to refocus, and, this is good talent and shows you how much more room for improvement there is at this level. So, Rouse, I'm confident they'll bounce back. They've had a strong season. I believe 10-4 was their record coming into today, correct?
Let's see. They picked up another game. I think it's 12, and now 12-6. I think.
That's why I don't trust Max Preps.
Right. Yeah, don't necessarily go by Max Preps, but
because I think a score wasn't quite reported. But so 12-6, and that's how baseball works sometimes, and these kids get to continue on to the rest of their Thursday spring break day.
Right.
There is no real spring break for these baseball players, but any thoughts here before we sign off?
Well, Rouse definitely going to have to regroup and to come back in for district play, as I believe we take on Cedar Park next week. And I believe that I'll be doing the broadcast with Brad.
Correct.
Next week. So Rouse back in district action versus the always tough Cedar Park Timberwolves. So we're looking forward to that and give the Raiders a little bit of rest for the rest of spring break. And it's been fun working with you today.
Oh, it's fun.
So I've enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it too, Michael, and I'll be around here a little bit during the baseball season. I know I have them scheduled for a few games, I believe later in March and a couple in April, so I'm looking forward to it. It'll be a fun time. And
enjoyed it.
We appreciate you working double duty, also running the PA, and
hopefully
helping everything out.
Hopefully we can get some parent volunteers that'll actually be up here taking care of this so that my focus can be on. You can't give 100% to everything if you're spread out in multiple things, and so
I understand.
We get focused and get back on track, and that way I can give my attention to the broadcast and not have to work all this other stuff too. So it's definitely a task, but you love the game, you love the kids, and you do what you have to give them the best, and that's what you want for these young men.
Exactly. Well, tough loss today for the Raiders, but they will get to enjoy the rest of their spring break, and then the next game against Cedar Park will be here on SHN Sports. Thank you for tuning in, and have a good rest of your afternoon. Good night, everybody.